Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this, the final day of Anarchapulco, here on the Cryptopulco stage. Welcome. Thanks for coming. I want to let you know that after Amin Rafiee, we're going to have Jose Rodriguez, Dr. Daniel Kim, Kingsley Edwards, Jeff Berwick, and then perhaps a special workshop after that. So we're working on that to get that moved to the proper zone, but we'll, at this point, we've got a great morning set up for you. So also, on the sides here, paintings by Jan Kaepernick. He's from, Kasper, excuse me. He's from Vancouver, came all the way down here. So if you like his art, please chat with him. And now, to get us started, a regular speaker at Bitcoin and decentralization conferences throughout Europe and Australia. Your presenter has been helping share the truth, freedom, and choice that Bitcoin and other decentralized systems have to offer since 2013. Please welcome Amin Rafiee.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Welcome. All right, we reached the day. Let's have some fun. My name is Amin. I got into crypto in 2013. My background story is a particular interest of my own as well. It's been quite an interesting journey. Just I guess before I start, how many of you have been involved with the crypto scene for more than a year? Very nice. More than 5 years. Cool. We got some elites and we got some whatever. So, just I guess before I start again, what are you here to learn? Some of you maybe just want to shout out. Why did you come here? Freedom. Cool. That's a very nice word. What else? Community. That's a very nice word too. Money. We got one honest person. Technology. Money, technology, freedom. These are really interesting words, right? So before I start, I guess where I am, I expected some aspects of it to be different, right? So if an event is taking place, I would like to be asked if photos are going to be taken. I would like to be asked if videos are going to be taken. I would like to be asked if it's okay for my presentation to be recorded. These are very small things that we don't, I guess, pay much attention to that make a huge difference. See, as individuals, we need to have choice, and choice is exercised through giving people the ability to exercise that word that we used, freedom. So it is my freedom, for example, to bring my own laptop today and use Linux instead of the provided laptop, which was running Windows. That is a very small thing that I decided to do and exercise that could make a huge difference for me as a person. So at this event, there's a lot of presentations, and a lot of them are running, well, majority of them running on Windows. We have crypto people here and anarchists who are looking for freedom, yet the very presentation itself is running on Windows. So how can we look for freedom when we're running on proprietary software? Very right. So I brought my own laptop, and I just simply asked, may I use my own laptop? And I exercised my freedom. I exercised my ability to have that choice and just switch over. Technology is not enough. It's not enough to come here and look at gurus and anarchists or anarcho-capitalists, whatever title you want to give yourself. We're all human beings. I don't care what you call yourself. So we need to work on ourselves, as well as bringing technology that can allow us to gain some freedom in the digital world. So they're two separate worlds, right? So my story. So you can find me on, Bitopia group if you want to ask questions, mainly crypto, decentralization, peer-to-peer aspects. Who am I? Another aspect I want to bring up is that information should be accessible to all for free. So today's presentation would have been very nice if it was streamed for free for people to watch. Exclusivity creates this shift in paradigm where we have subclasses of people, okay? And when that happens, you neglect to introduce that word that you used, freedom, right? When we are free, we can say, I will go in person to this event and I will pay for it. And I will be there in person. But if I'm not, perhaps I would like to watch it from home. Perhaps it could be recorded later, then I could download it. I would like that. I would like that as an individual, that my presentation could be accessed right now by anyone in the world. We have the technology to do that. So then we have to question, why isn't that the case? You can answer that for yourself. So to change the way we live, to change the way that we behave, allows us to portray a certain image, right? Whether that freedom is for yourself or that freedom is for others. So when we act in accordance to that, it allows other people to question their own existence. So as I said, there's been over 200 speakers. I don't know if I'm the only person that said, let me link up my Linux laptop. I don't know, but I have a feeling I was. In a crowd that's not business or suit wearing, in a crowd that's anarchists. So why was I the only one that think about that? Why did that matter to me, yet it didn't matter to other people? I've been watching people's laptops, anarchists. They're talking about how the government this, banks that, but they're running Windows on their laptop. Why? Why are you doing this? I don't know. I really don't know. Incongruencies create issues for me. I don't like incongruencies. So if you're going to claim that you're a certain type of person, please make sure that you reflect and see what other parts of my life can I make a difference to. Just a small video.
To me, okay, to me, ultimately, martial art means honestly expressing yourself. Now, it is very difficult to do, okay? I mean, it is easy for me to put on a show and be cocky and be flooded with a cocky feeling and then feel like pretty cool and all that. Or I can make all kinds of phony things, you see what I mean? Blinded by it. Or I can show you some really fancy movement. But to express oneself honestly, not lying to oneself, and to express myself honestly, now that, my friend, is very hard to do. And you have to train. You have to keep your reflexes so that when you want it, it's there. When you want to move, you're moving. And when you move, you are determined to move. Not taking 1 inch, not anything less than that. If I want to punch.
Cool. So how do you express yourself fully? You have to put yourself in certain environments that you can learn from it. So I, as an individual, I am not made for cold temperatures. You can tell by my physical appearance. I had to do things to alter the way that I am, right? I can't just accept that this is how I am. I'm afraid of the cold. What can I do about it? Playing victim does not allow you to grow. So I exposed to myself based on the teachings of Wim Hof, a guy from Netherlands, to learn how to deal with the cold temperatures. So I started off slowly, cold showers. And then I went out when it was 0 degrees and took off my shirt and allowed myself to feel that and be okay with it. So while your whole body is telling you, oh my God, it's cold, put your shirt back on, what are you doing, we're gonna die, you ignore that signal. So all it is just a signal. So they say a lot of pain is caused by the anxiety rather than the actual pain itself, right? So if you can cancel out that anxiety, you're relieved of the pain, or majority of it. So I kept doing it, and I started to really enjoy it. And then I asked my friend, let's go into a frozen lake. I think it's time. It took about a year to get there, but you don't need to take a year. For me, it did. It depends what kind of games you want to play with yourself. My game took a year. And I sat there for 7 minutes with my really good friend. And it changed who I am as a person, right? It allowed me to express myself honestly. Since then, I have altered the way that I think. It modified who I am as a person. Because it allowed me to see that things can change. That a person that was shivering at 16, 15 degrees can sit in a frozen lake and just hang out. What else can we change? So I started looking into fasting through Dr. Sebi. I've done dry fast for 48, 52 hours or so. I've done water fasting for 7 days multiple times, 5 days for other times. Dry fasting for more than 2 days is very interesting. So no water, no food. You see people that are like, oh, I missed my breakfast. I'm hungry. Fuck, I'm gonna die. And when you've done this, you're like, I don't know. I think you're gonna be all right. So these altering these perceptions of ourselves allows you to go, what else can I do? And it becomes kind of a game. You gamify your own existence. So you start hacking your own existence. I don't look very pretty. I'll change it. Don't worry. This one's better. So I said, what else can I do? I started looking into strength training. So as a vegan, with no supplements, no straps on my hand, no reverse grip. So if you can't hold your weight, don't lift it. Go train your grip. I was able to deadlift twice my weight. So at that stage, I weighed 65 kilos. That's 130 kilos. And that was 2 or 3 months after I did the the water fast, which you saw how it looked like. Thanks, man. Very nice of you. But I'm not special. None of us are special. We're all powerful. So if you look at the stories, whether it's from a religious perspective, God created man in his own image and woman, or if you look at the Aboriginal stories, which date back to 40, 50, 60, even 100,000 years, the stories are very similar. The story of creation is that whether you want to call it God or call it whatever you want, or don't even call it, I have no arguments for you, but this is my expression, that we were made to be powerful, that through time, that power was taken away from us. And it is my duty to reclaim that power, to show myself that I'm not a victim in this world. I don't want to be a victim. I don't want to watch videos of how the banking cartels and other people are taking away my freedom. These need to be changed. So now I'm going to learn how to do the iron cross, which is very hard, but we'll get there. Moving on, crypto. Thanks for that backstory.
It's no longer the era of industry. We're in a technological era fundamentally. The fascists, they have the resources, but we have imagination. We are making the tools to take back our sovereignty. When we make a giant fuck you to the system, it's breaking that stranglehold on the tools of power that's used against us. The fascists always use the narrative of we are the white knights in shining armor protecting against the threats. We come here and we move out the dark with pure whiteness. That's a false narrative because there is corruption in those castles. The real base of power lies with us. We are the darkness. Open source is incredibly powerful. Open source is responsible for WikiLeaks, Wikipedia, Linux, which runs all of our infrastructure, for Firefox, for BitTorrent, for Bitcoin, for all of these, for encryption, for all of these real uses of tech, not the yuppie Angry Birds or silly apps that these people make, you know? Open source is also an...
Cool. So open source allows you to see the code of a system, right? That is why I said I would rather bring Linux than run a proprietary software. A proprietary software allows you, it takes away your control, it takes away your freedom. So if you're here for freedom, understand that on a holistic level, not just one level. Try and spread that to all aspects of your life. So this is just an example between GNU, Linux, and Windows and Macintosh. So yesterday there was a panel, right? And what I didn't appreciate about the panel yesterday was that they were sitting here and they said only stupid people would use to develop on Ethereum. That's not a very respectful way to speak to your peers. People started like cheering, like, yeah, we're not kids. If you truly believe in liberty, you should have respect for other people. The non-aggression principle goes beyond just a title that you throw around. You should respect another person who's following another project. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. No one told you to go and develop on Ethereum. But you don't sit there like a kid and be like, my toy is better than yours. You're a stupid idiot. Like, who does that? You know? Cheers. So we need to have respect for our peers. And if we don't speak out, how are we any different to the people in government or banking who don't speak about their peers? If you look at it at any level, it's just people protecting their peers. It's just natural. You want to protect those around you. Very rarely people like Edward Snowden or other people speak out about their peers when it gets to a certain point where they can't deal with it. So we need to come here, and if you see something wrong with this event, speak out. We need to make changes bit by bit. It's not good enough to just be like, oh, I'm just going to focus on the good parts. No. This is a representation of anarchy or anarcho-capitalist or whatever you want to call it, and it needs to portray that image, right? And if it's not portraying that image and you see something wrong, speak out. Let people know. Oh yeah, by the way, crypto is a subjective. This is something Andreas Antonopoulos said. You choose for yourself what's right for you. And if you don't like something, that's fine, let it die out. No one forced you to do it. I like bananas, you like apples. I'm not going to be like, apples are shit, you should like what I like. No, you eat whatever you want to eat, I don't care. But I don't know, people get into these things. So what is privacy? Privacy and freedom go hand in hand. Privacy and liberty go hand in hand. So if you got governments like China, where privacy is almost non-existent, you have the citizen rating system. I don't know if you know about it, but you should look into it. I'm not going to go into it too much. And you look at societies which are more free, like Netherlands for me is a lot more free than flying 40 minutes to England. I mean, the difference is huge for me to just go from Netherlands to England. And I get to the airport, they got cameras with the swerving light, so it attracts your eyes, so you look into it, they can scan your face, you walk into every shop where it's like thieves will be prosecuted. I feel like a criminal, where I'm not even a criminal. Netherlands doesn't do that to you. Netherlands doesn't make you feel like a criminal. It's one of the most relaxing airports I've ever gone through. When you do your job right as as an intelligence agency or whatever it is, the citizens shouldn't feel threatened. If you do your job right, people should be able to live freely. But when you have everyone scared and you're monitoring everyone's things, it just shows how weak you are. A strong society doesn't need to monitor everyone's information. And they did a study over the past, I think 15 years, and most attacks, whether terrorism or otherwise, were at one stage or another reported, like the people had been identified. But nothing had been done about it. Even the Boston bombing was once reported to the CIA and another time to the FBI, the two gentlemen, by Russia. But they did nothing about it until afterwards. And then they said, thank God we had access to people's cameras and everything because we could see where they were. Doing it afterwards, the damage is already done. You need to prevent, not find the people after they've caused the damage. So proprietary software and free software are huge, like the difference between the two, right? In one of them, cryptology is an interesting topic. So in one of them, which is proprietary software, when you get it for so-called for free, Windows 10, it was given out to people, right? Upgrade to Windows 10 for free. And people were like, oh, cool, let's do that. But you forget that if something is given to you, proprietary software for free, you're paying for it another way. And cryptology is very, very important to know because this is exercised through computers, devices. So it alters your behavior, whether it's through motivation, attitude change in worldview. All of these things happen through proprietary software. So you need to be aware of that. So they make you an addict without you even knowing it. Like, delete Instagram and Facebook from your phone and see how weird it feels, because you're just grabbing your phone, like I've done this. You're just grabbing your phone, you're like, I should be doing something right now, but the app is not there. Shit. And you see how your brain is like wired like that, You're just looking for that hit, like, oh, I need something, I need the app. All right, cool, I can scroll, oh, I feel better. Like, that's not normal, right? That's like how you're any different to a crack addict. Just one does it different, in a different way. So all these things that come out, we need to be aware of it. So again, freedom is a holistic perspective. It's not just, one aspect. So either the user controls the program, such as Linux, GNU Linux is the correct way to say it, in respect to Richard Stallman, or the program controls the users. These are his slides, by the way, just to give him the credit. And it's very interesting because when you live as a victim, you don't pay attention to these things. It's very hard. And we need to get out of that victim mentality. So a lot of times I say to people, you use a bank account, right? so you go and work, you put your money in there, then you pay them a bit of fees for putting your money in there, and then they take your money and invest it to make more money, and you're paying them as well, and they tell you when to access it or not. You're not getting anything out of it. And a lot of people, until I bring this up, haven't thought about it. They're like, oh shit, you're right. Why am I giving them money and then paying them fees as well, where they're like using my money to make investments? So that's the victim mentality that needs to break, where you're like, no, goddammit, this is my money, I'm gonna take it, I do with it as I will. And once you exercise this, it allows you to uplift yourself and you become a lot more wholesome. So you were born free. And then throughout life, people took bits and pieces from you. And you need to figure out a way to get those bits and pieces back. You can't rely on other people. There's no guru here, or even me, or anyone, that can do that for you. You need to do it for yourself. You need to figure out what freedom means to you and why it's important, why privacy is important, and why all these things are important, and figure it out for yourself and do it. So imagine if the whole world, or the universe, was closed source and patented. Would we have the medicine that we do? Would we have the advancements that we do? Could we do all the research that we did? It's all open source. Nature is open source. So anytime you go against nature, you will fail one way or another. And the power that we have is through the ability to be able to look at our genome, to be able to look at our neurological structure, biological structure, our DNA. And if we couldn't do that, we wouldn't be able to solve a lot of the issues that we have. Yet, we have proprietary software that we need to ask for permission. This is a good one.
All right, everyone, let's get started. Just choose a spot that feels right to you.
Hello. Sorry, excuse me.
Someone's gonna get close. I don't think I've seen you before. Beginners usually take a spot at the front so they can watch me.
Oh, no. I'm pretty familiar with yoga. I'll be okay.
Okay, well, if you need a block or a strap, you just let me know. Everybody's doing great. Gandhi, just toward the ceiling on that up dog, okay?
Oh, do you mean my Urdhva Mukha Svanasana?
No up dog. Don't worry, you'll learn the terminology. Gandhi, you gotta pick up the pace. You're not gonna burn any carbs.
Would you stop looking at my butt?
What? No, I didn't. I'm celibate.
You're right, creep.
You're doing great, but maybe next time try and wear appropriate yoga attire. Okay, maybe a lycra top.
This is a traditional Indian dhoti. I spun it myself.
Right. There's a Lululemon down the street.
Is this Coldplay? Yep. This is definitely Coldplay.
I'm on a juiced fast,
Oh,
so
cool. Oh, you're fasting. What for? To protest imperialism?
beach season.
Beach season.
Right, let's keep it down. This is a place of quiet reflection.
I'm pretty sure this is a grunge gym. There's a guy giving out sports drinks right there.
You look thirsty.
Are you kidding me? This is a Yankee Candle. Cinnamon bun.
With all due respect, Mahatma, I am a certified yoga instructor.
Oh, really? Who was your guru? Carl Smith, what an honorable yogi.
I really want to try a yoga Lattes class.
Oh my god, that is so spiritual.
Bitch, you do realize this is my actual religion, right? I will give anyone $10 if they can tell me who this is. Anyone? No, I didn't think so. It's Krishna, 8th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Learn it. Why is it so fucking hot in here?
We're doing Bikram yoga.
Well, you know, in my day, we did a traditional form of yoga where the room was normal and you didn't sweat your balls off.
You seem stressed. Just take a breath and flow your chakras down into your heart center.
What the fuck? Never mind. I'm leaving. Fuck all of you. You don't know what that means.
Whoa. So anyways, you get the point of that message, right? Yeah. So there's too many fake gurus in the world, yeah? And there are people going around talking about how blockchain is going to change their life and how it's going to be implemented in every application and blah, 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 blah. You need to learn from this. So the moment that you give your right to someone else to tell you what's right and wrong, you've already lost. So you need to research these things for yourself. I know it's hard. I know it's not easy to go and learn all these things, but it needs to be done. So this is a great question I love to ask people when they speak about blockchain. Is like, are you, if there's something wrong with you, we can talk about it, because you keep talking about blockchain this, blockchain that, the blockchain, the blockchain. There is no such thing as a fucking the blockchain. It's like saying the database. We're going to put it on the database. How ridiculous would you sound if you said that to an IT guy? Or the car. We're going to get the car. What car, dude? What are you talking about? You're talking about diesel? You're talking about petrol? You're talking about like electric car? Which type? Which country? Which source? These things need to be mentioned, but people just don't think that far, They just want to put it all into one basket. So it's a great question to ask. This was a study done by Deloitte, and they went around executives, Fortune 500 companies, and asked them, what do you think is the most beneficial aspect of a blockchain? So everyone proclaimed that they're fucking experts, which was very interesting. There's no such thing as a blockchain expert. If you hear one, run away. Secondly, they were asked, what is the most beneficial aspect? So they went through it, and they're like, it's speed. It's like, what? What are you talking about? It's more... People don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And it's partially our fault and it's partially their fault, because we haven't done a great job at teaching people the right ways. We're just stuck on this like, oh, dude, buy this coin because it's worth this much, do that, do that, do that. What about the technology? What about these benefits that come with it? And we haven't gone around and teach people these things. So this is a great poem that I like to use, where you become what you're surrounded with, right? So a drop of water, if it falls, you can read it for yourself. If it falls in a gutter, its value drops so much they can't be used even for washing the feet. The same drop in its existence worth is dependent on who it's associated with. And this is the same with blockchains. This is the same with any aspect of your life. So if you take the technology is provided by open source and you give it to the wrong organization, they will cause damage. So that's why we have all these hacks where we had hot wallets worth $500 million stolen, and then people say, well, Bitcoin is volatile. No, we had some idiots running this, and they lost people's money because they didn't do their due diligence, and they lost money, and it makes it look bad. But it's not innately something wrong with it. So this happened in British Columbia. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this copy track, but they hosted an ICO. After the ICO was done, they were doing the token distribution. They sent Ethereum tokens, 530 Ethereum tokens, as opposed to their own innate tokens. And then they took the guy to court. Unfortunately, he passed away before the court could reach the British Columbia Supreme Court. But nevertheless, he was found guilty, and they were ordered that they could track those Ethereum tokens and redeem it. And the average person would be like, yeah, good job, court, like you saved us. But no, I don't know how many of you understand that there's so much wrong with this, right? If you know what you're doing, the probability of you sending 530 Ethereum tokens instead of your innate token should be 0. If you use a multi-signature wallet, that makes sure that at least 1, 2, or 3 people verify this, it would be 0. But they didn't do their job correct, like that drop of water. And then they blamed the technology, and the Supreme Court now set the precedent that other people can use. It's sad. It's really sad. It shouldn't be like that. If the Supreme Court had an idea, they would be like, CopyTrack, I'm actually fining you for not operating correctly to set an example for other people hosting an ICO so they do their job correctly. But they don't know about these things. They just see it as, oh, money went missing. Yeah, get your money back. So I walked into the airport when I arrived, and I saw the Samsung Pay, right? That was interesting. And it really freaked me out. I'm like, wow, they're really trying to do their own thing. And then we have regulation, and we have all these other things going on, which tells us, we need KYC, and we need, AML. So this is a tool, right? And I can pull out many different aspects of this tool, but one in particular that I want to pull out is a knife. Don't get scared. I'm not a creepy person. So you have a knife, right? If I was to give this knife to anyone in this room, are you going to come and stab me? Just yes or no? No. So if you're not going to stab me, why should I be worried? So why is it we're told that Bitcoin is for criminals and we need to check all their transactions? Should we track every single knife? Because a knife can do damage. And if I give this to you, you're not going to stab me. A normal human being may cut an apple with it. I may use it in an emergency situation, which is why I bought it, to maybe cut a rope if I'm stuck in the forest somewhere. Or I may use it to save a life. Or I may use it to cut a piece of wood into a tool that I can use to hunt with. All these things are possible. So for me to focus on like, oh, someone's going to use this to hurt me with it, is as ridiculous as thinking Bitcoin is used by criminals and we should track every single cent of it. But why are we not tracking every bullet? Why are we not, thank you. Why are we not tracking every single bullet? That would be interesting. Why don't we track every single bullet and see where it went? Why doesn't the US Army or other armies around the world have a transparent way of tracking weapons, where they went, where the bullets went, perhaps even a tracking device that could show where they ended up at the end of the day? Serial numbers that anyone can go online and go, all right, these bullets were issued, and let's see where they ended up. That would give us, I would feel a lot better about that. What about instead of citizen rating systems, we had political rating systems? What about instead of us being the victims and us being monitored for doing bad things, the government was monitored, the police was monitored, the army was monitored? Why don't we turn these things around? That would be very interesting, but this is the way that it goes. I'm not going to go all of these things, but you get the idea. So we need to get past the victim mentality. So I'm making a documentary which should release sometime this year, where I went around and spoke to people because I was tired of answering the same old questions. It's like, oh, Bitcoin, that's that technology that's used for criminals, right? It's like, no, I got tired of answering all these simplistic questions. People think crypto anarchists are just chaos. It's not. They're highly educated, highly motivated people, if you take the time to speak to one. So top-down approach versus bottom-up. This is a huge thing that we need to take into account. When you have top-down, you lose a lot of accountability. You lose a lot of connection with the land, with the people, with the project, with whatever it is that you're trying to solve. It doesn't work. You can't have one organization that is unable to control and heal its own nation, go around and heal other nations. You just can't have that. Two reasons. One, they will never understand the culture and the place they are going to as much as a local would. They would never care for it as much as a local would. And secondly, it's inefficient. It takes away the accountability of people to look after their own environment. Would you give your kid to some random to raise for you? You wouldn't. You just wouldn't. I wouldn't. So why is it okay to do the same with countries and locals and other people? I don't understand. So this is what happens when you have top-down approach, where we give our information, our liberties, our freedom to other people. It causes issues, and issues that we can't fix. You can't fix it. When you introduce a central party, you introduce issues and errors in this system. But if you do bottom-up, you start to do some really amazing things because people want their community to be good. People want their society to be good. Like, I want my neighborhood to be nice. We can all agree. No one wants to live in a bad neighborhood. So if we started from the bottom up, things would change. Things would start to look a lot different. So as an example, East Timor-Leste was sent $8 billion and poverty doubled during the time they were sent $8 billion in funds. Why? Because there's no accountability, no transparency, and political corruption. But when you do bottom up, suddenly things changed. People were given responsibility from a village, local chief level up to heal their own environment. Crime went down. Things started to look much better. It's arrogance to think that I can tell you how to run your life, especially if I've never been in the country. It's pure arrogance. So this is a great proverb, which is that you can give the same... Thank you. That's very nice of you. That you can give people the same tool and it will have different effect. If you're the wrong person using blockchain technology or using any other technology or any other tool, it's going to cause damage if you don't know what you're doing, like copy track. And you send the wrong message out to people because you haven't done the right thing. You haven't understood it. So like a knife or a gun, in the right hands, a person will be secure. It will not put the finger on the trigger unless they're ready to shoot. They will not see it as a toy. If you give it to some idiot, they will play around with it, shooting Instagram videos, going, look at my new gun. So this psychological barrier between someone that understands and respects what they're using to someone that doesn't, that's merely seeing it as an object of self-gratification or ascendance. So what tools do we have available? 1 and 5 is one that I'm particularly interested in, and I'm working with them. And it allows you to use Tor, I2P, and meshing networks to relay messages across. Now, whether that message is a Bitcoin transaction or it is a journalist in a dangerous region trying to get a video out, it's irrelevant. We need these tools. So I spoke to someone the other day in the hallway, which was very interesting, and they said, oh, you know, I don't want to introduce anonymity on my coin because I think the governments are going to crack down on it. And I'm like, respect to the guy. Like, I'm not going to put him down. You do what you want. But that is a very victim mentality. It's like, I'm scared. We're not going to do that. It's like people like you and your inability to exercise your choice and freedom caused the problem to begin with. Because if all of us at the same time just did it, it wouldn't be stoppable. Thank you. So you got regions like Israel, where you have a division between two groups of people. And it's important to get the messages out, especially when one has the upper hand on media and one has the upper hand on sending the messages out, and the other one is crippled to the point where they cannot reach the other side. And these two people, perhaps if they were able to communicate, it would change the paradigm. It would change the way that they think about each other. Perhaps they would see, hold on, what I've been told by my media, by the top-down approach, is not correct. Perhaps if we did it bottom-up, I would see the reality better. So Salam Talk is an interesting example of that.
Media sucks. Think about it. Everything you know about your neighbor from the other side of the border comes from the media. Every piece of information goes through those filters. Basically, we know just what the media want us to know.
The actual distance across the border is so short, but on the other side is a whole different universe. Wouldn't you want to get your facts straight from the source rather than go through the media?
This is where Salam Talk kicks in.
The app allows Israelis and Palestinians to connect through video chat, where they can talk about any subject they like. Even people from other countries can take part.
Instead of getting fake news,
instead of the media telling you what the other side thinks, you'll get to find out for yourself. Imagine how simple it really is, how deep and fascinating these conversations are going to be. Now we're building a community around this idea. We will develop the Salam Talk app after we have the funds to do so.
Salam Talk.
So tools like this allow you to connect with people on a different level, right? Instead of waiting to be told what is going on, you can just speak to the other people. Like here, I can come and speak to you, or I can go read about it in some article someone wrote. What's more correct? Always go to the source. As a journalist, you know that the best way to verify your information is to check the source and go to it and verify it. So Encrypt is an application that will use 1M5 to allow people to submit whether it is information or articles, and you can see the different areas that they are involved with. And this is very important. Censorship, removal of censorship is very, very important. It allows us to reach that truth, right? And that's just one application of it. And hopefully it will be implemented in Salam Talk as well, and Purism laptops as well. Those are the kind of platforms and applications, whether it's hardware level or software level, that allow us to elevate, allows us to have tools and resources to withstand, again, oppression. And we need to be very, very open to these tools. Sharing economy is a powerful, I guess, representation of what is going on and how we are collectively organizing ourselves to no longer need intermediaries and allow ourselves to connect with one another. Technology has reached a point where we're almost reaching a point where we can go back to the olden days of peer-to-peer interaction. So, and you can see the growth that is going on in that sector. This is in Europe, because most of my talks are in Europe, but you can see that. And it's very important. You know, we got Airbnb instead of hotels, but Airbnb is still, you know, you need to work on it. Still a lot of regulation there. And then you have meshing networks, which allow local communities to gain access to what we take for granted, which is internet connectivity or other forms of connectivity, and allowing people to communicate. You see, the less connection there is, the more people can be manipulated. The more knowledge that you have, the less likely you are to be manipulated. This is very simple. So educate yourself, whatever it is, whether it's through diet, whether it's through your life, technology, whatever it is. Don't wait for someone to help you. You're all powerful. You go into a stage and look at some guy with 1,000 people in front of him, you're just as good as that guy. There's no difference between you two. He just believed in what he did, or she just believed in what she did a bit more and went and spoke about it. But don't be like, wow, that person's so cool. Don't idolize people. We're all equals. And you need to really grasp that and really grasp the fact that you have that measurement within yourself to be whatever you want to be. So just to wrap it up, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I'm giving you a holistic perspective on my experiences. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. But I hope you see some sort of a light in that. I hope I can reach you to some degree, because this whole conference is about reaching people and allowing them to think on a different level. That's why I tried to reach you from a technology level, health level, life level, whatever I could. And I really appreciate that you came out. And as I said, if you see something wrong, you see something that could be changed, speak out. Without communication, there is no improvement. And it's not good enough to be shy. There's no time. We need to sort things out. So thank you so much for coming out today, and I really appreciate your time. Okay. Cheers. I've been told I have some time for Q&A, so if you wanna just go for it, yeah.
Let me get a microphone to you.
You briefly mentioned the Purism laptop. Mine got delivered when I was down here, so I'm so excited for that. And just in case people don't know, Purism provides privacy laptops and phones. The phones are not yet shipping. They will ship, I think, in April. And the phones are $600, but you can actually use the phone as a cold storage wallet if you want to, because they physically went down to the hardware level, removed all the firmware, rewrote the firmware, and installed physical cutoff switches for the Bluetooth, wireless, mic, camera, all that's fantastic. And then I did some research on, we're supposed to be, this open solutions-oriented community, developing various blockchain technologies, not the blockchain, right? And so I wanted to know, because I've been using Linux for 20 plus years, and I use open source everything. I pay for no software or operating systems. But I want to know how much, and I want to know your thoughts on this, is the development with cryptocurrencies and various blockchain projects using Linux and open source solutions. It's almost non-existent. It's about 92% non-open source solutions used in blockchain development and crypto development. So yeah, I would like to know your thoughts on all that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one. Like, I knew of an organization that used Outlook Express for their communication, and I was like, what are you doing? You're running, like, you're in the wrong sector if this is what you're doing. You could easily run like Thunderbird or many other applications that are open source and free, and you're saying that my Proton emails don't reach you because your Outlook blocks them. Like, is that the kind of level you want to operate at? And I find these incongruencies very, very hard to deal with, because, it's just choice. If people don't know, like, it's not that people don't want things better, it's just they're unaware. So if you just point them out, like, I'm sure if everyone knew they could just run Linux here, they would do it. But they haven't thought about it. The brain hasn't clicked that over. But once it does, they're like, yeah, why haven't I done that? So a lot of these projects, the unfortunate thing is maybe that they don't know the culture. It would be nice if there was like a guideline on how to operate within this space and run free applications, be decentralized, and remain in an open source environment. But I think a lot of it is education, and it needs to happen. So, if you see communities, you can be like, hey, you can do this. And if they don't respect it, I don't know, you can't really, I guess, force them. But yeah. But that was really cool with the laptops and everything. It is very nice. Thank you, man. Cheers. Yeah.
Hi there. Amin, do you recommend like the Librem laptop from like Purism?
Oh, hey. Sorry?
The Librem laptop, like open source hardware, computers, hardware.
Yeah, the Librem laptop is from Purism, right?
Purism,
but,
yeah.
but it's not all open source hardware. I hope we can reach a point where it's all open source hardware. All they've done is like modify the hardware, so the Intel chips and everything. They actually got assistance from Intel engineers to work on the hardware to block certain things that would allow for surveillance or monitoring and increase the privacy, which was really cool that Intel engineers were willing to do that. And I hope we can reach a point where we can have open source hardware. Unfortunately, they're not. You can't match the technology yet, but I hope so one day. But the software is fully open source. Like their phone doesn't run Ubuntu or anything like that. It runs a proper, open source GNU Linux operating system. And a lot of their applications is free software or open source software, which is the way it should be done. But yeah, hopefully in the future we can have open source hardware as well. But it's the best attempt, and again, it's bottom up. It's not some big company. They just raised some funds and they did it because they believed in it, which is cool.
Final question.
Hey, Amin. Great presentation. You mentioned you were working on a documentary. I was wondering what the documentary is called and when will it be released?
Its name is yet to be finalized, but it's about like disruptive technology. So Society 3.0 is actually a Dutch guy who in the Netherlands started co-working spaces before the term co-working even existed. In 2007 he did this. He had an office where people would come in and he continuously saw that there was space not being used, and the Dutch are very efficient at these kind of mentalities. They don't like things being wasted. So he opened it up for people to come and work there, and he saw that people interacted, and they were interacting and sharing knowledge and helping each other on each other's projects. And he wrote this book called Society 3.0, Ronald is his name, and very interesting guy. So I interviewed people like this who were like the pioneers, so people can learn, hold on. So the sharing economy is not a bunch of just like idiots living like hippies, like the ideology is far beyond that. There's a very successful guy in the Netherlands with, hundreds of locations around Europe and other places, and it's open source, so you can take his idea and like create your own one in your own country, and he gives you all the software and everything to do it, which is really cool. But yeah, that's the kind of path I'm going with. So I would like it if this guy got a question as well. He was really keen, I felt, and then I'll stop. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Just real quick, I'm a computer guy. I used to work at Microsoft, and now I pretty much only own Macs because I hate Microsoft so much. And what you're telling me about Linux is, I've been kicking my own ass here the whole time you've been talking, so I'm like, why haven't I researched this? Why haven't I done it? So it just occurs to me as a huge learning curve. So what would you recommend? Which one do you use?
It's like cryptos, whatever you want. Like, it depends what's important to you. Some people like the visual aspects, so they go for a different distribution. I use Ubuntu, which is like a very lightweight version of Ubuntu. Other people use Mint. Other people use Tails because they're very privacy orientated. It depends on your own preferences. But definitely, you just look into it. It's free. Yeah,
okay,
I'm sure he knows a lot more about it. Yeah.
And then the last question is, I took some pictures of your slides and what you said in the beginning. Is it cool that I keep them, or do you want me to delete them?
I appreciate that you asked. Yes, it is cool. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Anarchapulco, it's so hype, I'm trying to tell ya. This the event of the year and best vacation ever. Ron Potter, Jeffrey Tucker, just to name a few. Get your tickets, you don't wanna miss it. You should roll through. Talking politics to health and self-improvement to investing. So many things, not one thing. Learn how to live life unchained, yeah. 4 days vibing on the beach, time to connect. All about growth, way more than a conference. This is Anarchapulco, yeah. Let's go.
You ain't seen nothing yet.